Hello there and welcome to this channel. I am your GDPR/privacy career mentor, Veronica Dukwe Yusuf. And in this video, I will be walking you through the steps that you can take to secure a role or actually break into this career space in 2025. My journey started 8+ years ago. But when I started, there are a few things that I did which may not necessarily work now. So what I'm going to do is walk you through how you can do the same or how you can actually get into this career in 2025. When I started, I didn't start with point one, which is get certified. I started by sort of building knowledge and sort of reading up on my own just to understand about GDPR, the core principles of GDPR, meaning the General Data Protection Regulation, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with now. And so I went for a crash program over the weekend in London. I think it was 2 days. Yeah, so it was really intense. And then we did a mini certification. We wrote something like an exam, right? Okay, but it's not your standard IAPP or CIPPE, CIPM, and the likes, which most of you are familiar with. But what really moved the needle for me was gaining hands-on practical experience. And I'm also going to tell you how you can get that in 2025 and beyond. So so I went for that, and then I got on a boot camp. I joined a boot camp, and I think mainly what we focused on was understanding the core elements of the GDPR. How would you go into a business to help them to implement GDPR compliance? Where do you start from? What are the key pointers? How do you maybe talk about the data flows of the organization, inbound flows, outbound flows, so your data discovery? So there's we kind of touched on it very lightly, but again, I went on and I read up more about it, and I understood how to do that, so that at the time when I went for my interview, that was the first thing I was asked, and I was able to present my approach to supporting that organization. So the brief I was given was very specific, because they really wanted to know how I was going to come in to help them to start working on their GDPR compliance program. And so I worked through that, and then I presented my approach. So if you were to do that in 2025, how should you go about it? The first thing, your certified information privacy professional, Europe, so your CIPPE. Again, it really focuses on GDPR, EU GDPR. So again, doing that certification, because a lot of jobs that you find today would require that. Almost they'll actually be within the essential skills or essential requirements section. Some might just put it in the desirable, so it might be something that could be overlooked, or you could be pardoned, let's put it that way, if you do not have it and have something else stronger. But my recommendation is to get certified, because as you're getting certified, you're developing that knowledge about the GDPR and the core elements, the core principles, and how to really interpret it, how to really support an organization to attain compliance. So as you go through the CIPPE, it helps you to get that foundational knowledge. So get your CIPPE certification done, and that's a tick in the box. The next thing you want to do is look for how you can gain practical experience. There are different ways. One, you can volunteer. So I remember when I started out, I was just so keen. I wanted to get practical experience. Now, I had done the IT governance crash course, but then I was just wondering, how do I apply all of this knowledge that I had picked up over time? Where do I even get that hands-on practical experience? How do I get that? So in fact, I reached out to my church at the time, and because everybody was talking about GDPR compliance, so there were small businesses, there were churches, there were charity organizations, everyone working towards GDPR. And so I said, well, do you have a DPO? So all of the things that I'd learned over the weekend, I was asking a lot of questions and trying to find an opportunity to gain that practical experience. So I spoke to my church at the time. I did a bit kind of, just to ask questions, almost like a mini light touch audit of where they were in terms of compliance and all of that. And we had that conversation, which again was very good learning for me. So what you can do, and I know there are several. I will put the link in this the bottom of the video, of course. So when you go through, I'll put some links, because there are internships that you can do now. There are places that you can volunteer. So for example, you might want to say, okay, approach a small business, approach a charity organization, a CIC, if you're in the UK, social enterprise organizations. There's several, or you could look inward. So if you are currently on a role and you're trying to transition into becoming a privacy professional, you could ask within your organization if you could even shadow, if they have a department, if they have a team that handles that, so that you can begin to build a portfolio of experience that you can demonstrate at an interview or even put on your CV. So volunteering, internship, boot camps are also another one, which is one that we run as well. And so you can join a boot camp for a few months. I did that, and that really helped me, because we went and we worked, or we started, like, we built a roadmap for GDPR compliance. It was more like a case study, right? And that really helped me to get that practical understanding of a lot of the things that I had learned, from the theoretical aspect, right? So that is also another thing that you could do. You could go onto a boot camp. Sometimes you could get like a 4 months, 6 months boot camp, and it will just help you. It'll give you an opportunity to see, okay, what are privacy notices? How do you develop one? If you were hired today and you were asked to review the existing privacy notices, what should you be looking for? What are the elements of a privacy notice? Now, in interviews, I know some people that I've mentored before have had that question asked, to say, if we hired you today, what are the things that you look out for if we needed our privacy notice updated? So again, these are things that you can also, and there's now things that have really opened up. There's a plethora of information, of knowledge out there that you can research. You can go to the IBM website, you can go to Security, you can go on to OneTrust. There are so many, and you can see some of these templates to give you a good understanding, and you can use that as your personal portfolio development. So whether it is something that you create a project, for example, so that you say you can use that as that example, or like the charity I mentioned, if you are able to get an opportunity and offer a charity that pro bono free service, to say, I'd like to come in and help you to do an audit of, are you GDPR compliant? If they've done some work, they may be able to tell you that, yes, we have done this, but we still have a lot to do. And you can actually go in there and spend like 3 to 6 months to audit that organization. And that is evidence of work that you have done, and that can actually go onto your portfolio. So you look at where they are, you carry out an initial assessment, you carry out an audit, ask them questions, and there are several templates that will guide you, especially if you're like, oh, where do I start from? How do I even go about this audit? What are the questions I should ask? There's several templates online, and as I go on, every now and then I will put a lot of links for you to to get this information. So yeah, so what you want to do is gain hands-on experience. Look at how privacy notices are developed. What are the elements of a privacy notice? Now, another thing is, a lot of organizations struggled with their data flow, their data discovery. So that was my very first rodeo, let's call it that. as a GDPR consultant, it was to help an organization. I think in my previous video, I talked about that. And so how do you go into an organization to help them to develop their ROPA? What is a ROPA? A record of processing activities. So that is something that one thing I would recommend. Go on to the Information Commissioner's Office, that's the UK Supervisory Authority. Go on to the ICO website. There's an amazing template that has helped me in my career a lot of times, and I also use that to mentor my clients. So you want to go onto the ICO's website and you will find that, I believe it is still there, the template that you could use to help an organization to develop their record of personal activities in compliance with Article 30. So that is another thing that you could also add to your portfolio, so that at the end of the day you can say, oh wow, I know what it entails, I know what the template contains, and so if I was to go into an organization, I actually know how to approach that. In subsequent videos, I will tell you my example of, I will really break it down. If you were supposed to go into an organization that didn't have any tool like OneTrust and the likes, how do you do that? How did I go about it? How was I able to do that? And that was something that I did in very early days. So you want to look at privacy notices. There are templates, look at them. Record of personal activities, which is your ROPA. A lot of organizations, need that, because that is them actually fulfilling or ticking the box around their accountability principle, which GDPR stipulates. So you as a data controller or processor should have that record of personal activity. So as that privacy professional, you can help an organization to develop that, and they have that, they keep that, they maintain it, they keep it updated. So that is one what will I call that now, arsenal, if you like, that could go into your portfolio. All right. The second thing is you want to look at maybe privacy impact assessment, or data protection impact assessment. DPIA is very, very important. Most organizations will have that as their internal control, let's call it mechanism, if you like, for ensuring that they are assessing, their risk assessing projects, and different initiatives where personal data processing is involved, and where DPIAs may be triggered. So if maybe, for example, the processing could result into high risk, to, of course, the data subjects and all of that, the DPIA will be advised, and all of that. So looking at how do you create, how do you develop a DPIA if they don't have that. Again, there are templates. You can go onto the ICO website. I'm mentioning the ICO because I'm in the UK, and I know that a lot of resources from the ICO website has helped in my career. So that's why. But now, of course, there is a lot, and hopefully I'll share some links there for you to have a look at. So you look at, how do I develop a DPIA or a PIA, just depending, but again, that is something that most jobs that you find today may require. And the fourth thing I want to mention is how you want to also look at templates that will help you to develop your data subject access request. Let's say a DSAM mechanism. How because of course that the GDPR also stipulates or mandates organizations to ensure that they've got adequate measures in place, or a mechanism for processing DSAs and fulfilling DSAs when they come through. So that might be something that you want to also say, how can I go into an organization to probably help them as their DSA coordinator? How do I advise them, on what they should have in place from when that DSA is maybe, maybe it's in form of a form that could be on their website, or maybe some back in the days, but now I think a lot of organizations will have a form, so you can go onto the website. So how do you build that form for them? If you don't have tooling, I remember back in the days I used OneTrust, thankfully, and they had out of the box a form builder. So again, it's just for you to go in and say, okay, how, what fields, what sort of data do you want to capture on that form? So again, from the capture to fulfillment of the DSA, what does that end-to-end process look like? So you can also dig into that, research that, practice that, do a test run, and then you can say, right, if I was to get a job tomorrow, and one of the things that I was asked to do was to put maybe a standard operating procedure for managing DSAs, that is something that you can say, I know how to do. So let me run through a couple of things that you want to put in your portfolio. One, you want to make sure that you understand how to help an organization to develop or update or review their privacy notices or internal data protection policies. That's one. The second one is your record of processing activities in compliance with Article 30. Again, organizations will want to do like a data discovery, so you would want to look at a template that you could use to help that organization to fulfill that. Then the third one is your data protection impact assessment, or your PIAs. So again, that is another template that is out there in public domain, which you can get templates to and do a test, whether you do that with a charity organization or wherever it is you're volunteering. You could also use that to test, and you see how to do it, and that goes into your portfolio. And then the fourth one was your DSA procedure. For example, maybe you develop an end-to-end process for an organization, from when the DSAs will come in to when, the process and the various steps that they will have internally to fulfill the DSA. So that again is something that you can develop, and that goes into your portfolio. So having those, top 4-5 elements, or templates, as it were, a clear understanding of how you can actually help an organization to put that into practice, and that becomes something that goes on your CV to say, I know how to do this, and this is my evidence, and things like that. So 1, CIPP certification, I will say get certified. 2, get a portfolio, get hands-on experience that you can demonstrate at interviews. I have sat in on panels before, and I know when someone is just talking from a certification. So I've read and I passed the exam, I haven't really practiced, I can tell. So you want to make sure that you got that practical hands-on experience, because the way that you come across and you demonstrate and respond to those questions will be different in comparison to someone who just read it from Google. So that is that. Then the third thing, so I've talked about getting certified CIPPE. Then please network. You have got to be on LinkedIn. Make sure that you are connected with people in the privacy space. Join the IAPP, become a member, because a lot of resources and opportunities that you can get from being a member. So networking is essential, because again, you just never know what door could open. So make sure that you are connecting with people on LinkedIn. Then have that CV well crafted. That CV and the cover letter that actually demonstrates that you are the best fit for the role, is essential. So networking, being on, maybe joining IAPP, becoming an IAPP member, so you can leverage all the resources that they provide, connecting with people that are currently in that space. Go on to LinkedIn, you know how to search to look for people who are maybe already DPOs or privacy analysts, privacy managers. Look for maybe target organizations that you'd like to work in, and so you then can find these people and make connections with them. Try to have conversations, build that rapport with them, and let them know that you are looking to pivot or to transition into this space. So these are very core elements that I would recommend that I would do in 2025. Attend events, attend conferences. There are several privacy, data protection, related workshops every now and then. There is several. IAPP does a lot of events all around the world. The ones that you may not be able to go physically, get virtual tickets and attend, so that you are in the right environment. And then finally, stay updated with because this is such a dynamic space and it's evolving all the time. There is changes in legislation when it comes to data protection and privacy. So you've got to stay updated with these changes, and you keep developing your knowledge. So if I was going to do this again in 2025, these are the steps that I would take. So let me run that through again. 1, get certified. Jobs now are asking for CIPPE as a base. Just a foundation or foundational certification. So you've got your CIPM and CISP, SSP. So if you want to go, but I would say CIPPE is a good place to start, which of course CIPP is more GDPR focused, and that's a good foundation to have. Then the second thing is hands-on practical experience, which I've already gone through already. Then the third one is networking. Get onto LinkedIn, connect with people who are in the privacy space, attend events, attend conferences, get a portfolio build. Get all these templates that I've talked about. I mean, there is so much, there's a lot that you will learn even on the job, but these are the basics. You know, you need to understand what this means in terms of the practical requirements that an organization would need, and therefore you who's going into that organization, these are things that should be at your fingertips. So have that, and then get a CV that of course is well crafted. Use AI if you need to, but of course you need to use that sensibly. And then you start applying, start putting yourself out. You could start with entry-level positions and then build your way up. Or maybe if you're currently in an organization and you know that there is a team, they have a compliance or GDPR compliance team, privacy team, you can begin to speak to your manager or, you know, approach that team and let them know of your, you know, of your intention that you really want to pivot. So some organizations are actually quite good, and they could allow you to job shadow, you know, and then you walk your way through, and that might just be a good place to start. Or you look for entry-level positions such as maybe DISA coordinator, privacy analyst, junior privacy analyst, and then you walk your way through. And that is how you can pivot into your data protection and privacy career in 2025. I hope you found that useful. Now, if you have any particular questions about anything that I've spoken, please, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your questions and challenges that you're facing in the market now. Let's have a chat, and I don't mind recording responses to any of these questions. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you will get a notification each time a video comes on. And make sure that you like, make sure that you share this with anybody who might find this relevant. And more than anything, let me know if you'd like to join my mentoring program, which is something that I do. I have group mentoring and I have one-to-one mentoring. So probably you're already in that space, but you want someone to support you in your first 60, 90 days, or even probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months. You're 6 months in, and there are challenges that you're currently facing, and you want to be in. You want a mentor. That is something that I offer as a service. So you can feel free to also ask me. So I hope you've enjoyed this today. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.